Hello students. Now in continuation with adaptations in different ecosystems, one of the other topic which is there in this particular chapter is adaptation on the basis of light penetration. Okay, so if we are looking at a marine ecosystem, okay, if you are looking at a marine ecosystem, then there are basically three zones on which the light penetration is considered. Okay, right? So first zone, second zone and third zone, okay, wherein they have given names also for these particular zones. So basing upon the light penetration, there are different zones which are given. So that is what I am writing here. The first zone is called as the euphotic zone. Okay, we'll discuss one by one. Okay, so that it will be easy for you to understand. The first one is the euphotic zone. Now, what are the characteristics of the euphotic zone? First one is the organisms are mostly floaters and swimmers. Okay, organisms are mostly floaters and swimmers. Okay, we'll just reduce the length, the thickness of the right. Okay, so organisms are mostly floaters and swimmers in the euphotic zone of the marine ecosystem. Then the next one is the next point in euphotic zone. Okay, it's not the next zone. The next point in the euphotic zone is the organisms are, that means I'll just refer to them as they. So when I say they, that means the organisms in that particular zone. Okay, all right. So they have shiny bodies. Okay, they have shiny bodies reflecting light. Okay, so they reflect light. So they have shiny bodies reflecting light away. They reflect the light away to merge with shiny water. Okay, to merge with shiny water surface. Okay, so when these organisms are merging with the shiny surface of the water, they are basically becoming transparent. So they are not that visible quickly. Okay, right? So that is one of the other characteristic of the euphotic zone. Now, the third characteristic of the euphotic zone is photosynthetic activity is maximum. Photosynthetic activity is maximum. Okay, photosynthetic activity is maximum in this particular zone. So most of the plants are performing photosynthesis in this particular zone only. So this is a zone of bright light. Okay. Okay, this is a zone of bright light. Okay, right? Now, moving on. The next characteristic is now almost nearly 80% of the marine life. Okay, almost 80% of the marine life is actually found in this particular zone. Okay, so almost 80% of the marine life is found in the euphotic zone. Okay, right? Now, examples for this. Okay, examples for organisms which are living in euphotic zone are, say for example, trouts. Okay, then you have dolphins. Okay, you have dolphins. Okay, then you can also write jellyfish. Okay, right? So these are some of the examples of organisms which are living in the euphotic zone. Okay, right? Now the physical dimensions of the euphotic zone, we will look at it in a different, say in a different table. Okay, right? Now, so please make a note of these points which I have written. So that is the euphotic zone. It's a brightly lit zone. Then organisms are mostly floaters and swimmers in that particular zone. Then they have shiny bodies which reflect light away to merge with the shiny water, so making them transparent. And then photosynthetic activity which is happening is maximum in this particular zone, and nearly 80% of the marine life, that is plants and animals, they live in this particular zone, and examples for them are trouts, dolphins and jellyfish. Okay, right? So moving on to the next zone, which is here, which is the bathyal zone. So this is the second zone which is called as the BATHYAL, bathyal zone. Okay, right? Now, when we are looking at this zone, okay, right? Now, this is a zone which is present just below the euphotic zone, and this has certain flat fishes like ray fishes. Okay, so I'll just write that point. So some of the animals okay, so some of the animals okay, so some of the animals say for example in this zone, so some of the animals in this zone are flat. Okay, some of the animals have in this zone are flat bodied. Okay, they are flat bodied. Now like example I can write it as here, ray fish. Okay, they have flat bodies like ray fish. Okay, right? Now the next point in bathyal zone is, now the organisms which are living in this particular zone have big eyes. Okay, they have big eyes. Now when they have big eyes, that means what? When they have big eyes, now when they have big eyes, they are sensitive to dim light. Okay, so they are sensitive to dim light and they will be able to view what is there in front of them. Okay, now next property or next characteristic of this bathyal zone is, now plants which are found in this zone. Okay, plants found in this zone are say red corals. First one is red and brown kelps. Not corals, I'm sorry, red and brown kelps. Okay, right? Now these are actually used in shampoos these days. Okay, kelps are used in shampoos these days in order to give protein to the particular hair. Okay, right? Depending upon the need, okay, of the person. Okay, then now animals with tubular body. Okay, animals with tubular body are found in this zone. Okay, animals with tubular body are found in this particular zone. Okay, right? Now, that's basically about the bathyal zone. I have given an example, rayfish, and plants also, red and brown kelps. Okay, so these are the main basic points of the bathyal zone. All right, now moving on to the next zone, which is the abyssal zone. Okay, I'll just remove this. Which is the third one. Okay, now this third one is abyssal zone. Okay, now when I say abyssal zone, okay, now some of the characteristics of this abyssal zone is, so in this zone it is dark. Okay, it is dark and cold. Okay, in the zone is dark and cold throughout the year. Throughout the year, the zone is dark and cold. Now, next point in this is photosynthesis is absent. So there are no plants here because there is no light. Photosynthesis is absent. Okay, photosynthesis is absent in this particular zone. And then moving on, the animals which live here. Okay, the animals which live here. Okay, the animals which are living here, they are mostly predators. Okay, mostly predators. They are mostly predators. Okay, they are mostly predators. Sorry, predators. They are mostly predators and they are also scavengers. Okay, they are also scavengers. Okay, right? All right. Now, moving on to the next point in abyssal zone. Okay, the next point is, now these animals, they have, so they, when I am writing they, that means I am referring to the animals in this particular zone. Okay, right? So they have, that is the animals, they have large teeth. Okay, okay, I'll write large mouth. Sorry, I'll write large mouth and curved teeth. Okay, so why is that they have large mouth and curved teeth? Large mouth is to catch the prey or put the prey into their mouth, and curved teeth is to keep the prey intact in them. Okay, right? So that is why they have that adaptation. Okay, so in simple language, what should I say here? The animals have large mouth and curved teeth in order to prevent the prey to escape. Simple as that. Okay, right? Then moving on to the next point in this, we'll erase this first. Okay, moving on to the next point here. Absence of skeleton. Absence of skeleton. Excuse me. Absence of skeleton and okay, absence of skeleton and flattened bodies. Absence of skeleton and flattened bodies are some other characteristics. Okay, so there is absence of skeleton in some organisms, and they also have flattened body. So these are some of the characteristics which are observed in abyssal zone. Okay, right? Then next, now because this is a very dark zone, that means there is no light. Okay, so animal retort to produce light from their bodies. Okay, right? So they produce light from say, sorry, from their bellies. Okay, then their eyes. Okay, then sides, that is sides of their body, and then they glow in the dark. They glow in the dark. Okay, right? So these are some of the adaptations. Now when they glow in the dark, that means what? That property of an organism to glow in the dark, it is called as bioluminescence. Okay, they grow, that is what? There is some chemical reaction which occurs in their body which makes their body to glow. Okay, right? Now eyes are there which are lit. That doesn't mean that these organisms can see. Okay, they do not see. They depend on the smell which is coming. Okay, right? They depend on the smell. Okay, or there are some chemical signals or receptors on their body which pick up that particular scent of the prey and they catch hold of it. All right? Okay, then example for these are angler fish. Okay, okay, angular fish. So you know that this angular fish, on the top of its head, it has a small projection which is shiny, which is lighting up. It lights up because of some biochemical reaction, and because the prey gets attracted towards light, they come towards it, and the anglerfish actually grabs them and eats them. Okay, then next you have giant squid. Okay, you have the giant squid. You know this, it's a very big octopus, kind of an octopus, but it's a squid family. Okay, right? And it has tentacles. Okay, and it is it is very, very dangerous to look at it. It's basically very brick red in color, and it is called as the red devil by the scientists. Okay, right? Now just summing up all these three zones together with respect to the temperatures here and light and depth. Okay, euphotic zone, it is sunlit. Okay, that means there is light, it is brightly lit. Temperature is maintained up to say 30 degrees centigrade, that is 104 degree Fahrenheit, and the depth of it is 0 to 200 meters. That is the zone, euphotic zone. Then you have the bathyal zone. Now what is this bathyal zone? It is dimly lit. Okay, right? And say basically a twilight zone. Okay, just basically a twilight zone, and the temperature here is 4 degree centigrade, that is 39 degree Fahrenheit. Then the range, the depth is around 200 to 2000 meters. Then moving on to abyssal zone, it's a dark zone. Okay, then the temperature ranges from 2 degrees to 3 degrees centigrade. Okay, 2 degrees to 3 degrees centigrade, and then that is 36 to 37 degree Fahrenheit, and the depth is from 2000 meters to 6000 meters. Okay, so that depth is called as the abyssal zone. All right, now as I said, the organisms found in this particular euphotic zones and all, euphotic zone are say planktons, you have dolphins, you have jellyfish, which I have already told you. Then the organisms found in the bathyal zone, they include say whales. Okay, they include lanterns. Okay, they include lanternfish. I'm so sorry, they include lanternfish. Okay, then they have brown kelps and red kelps, which I have already told you. Okay, then they have octopuses and sponges. Okay, so these are present in the bathyal zone, and in the abyssal zone, I told you the angular fish and the giant squid are more prominently seen. Okay, then you have a starfish which is called as a beetle star. Okay, beetle star is also existent in this particular abyssal zone. Okay, right? So I hope that you have understood all the three zones which are present here in the oceans. Okay, so in the next session we'll be looking at the freshwater ecosystem. All right, thank you so much.